the nation, and I am just so happy to have him on my show. He's a strong brother in the community, doing a lot of work in the community, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself. He wears many hats, and so good morning, brother Jeffrey.
Good morning, Sister Priscilla.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling blessed and humbled to be on your show today.
I'm happy you're on here too. I don't know why I never asked you before, but but I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here because there's a lot of things going on in our community. There's a lot of things that we need to talk, that we're discussing. There's just a lot going on.
That's right.
And so, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, those that don't know you.
Okay, all right. My name is Brother Jeffrey Forex. I'm a brother in the Nation of Islam. I am dedicated to the upliftment of our people. I'm duty bound to that as a brother in the nation, but just as a man in the community. I have 5 beautiful children with my wife, Sister Samantha X. Like you said, I wear many hats, so the best title for me is brother. So I could sit here and tell you titles, but I'd rather just talk about the work.
Right,
because that's my focus, and it literally worked for me. Keep God out front and do the work, and the rest will take care of itself. So that's the gist of it. I could go on and on, but like I said, I'm happy to be on your show. I thank you because the airways are powerful. You don't know who's going to be listening. You don't know who we could touch today that it ends up benefiting them. So
Right.
anything I could do, that's what I'm about. So.
Well, so like you said, you wear many hats. There's a lot of things that you do. And so one of the things that I know is new for our community is the Recovery Cafe, which I'm so happy to see. I believe it's the only one in the state.
It's the only Black-owned and operated recovery center in the state.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Recovery Center and how it works and how people can get in contact.
Okay. First, I'd like to give you how, even me coming into that, the fact that it's the only Black-owned and operated recovery center in the whole state of Massachusetts. So I was pretty much tasked with traveling the state and bringing awareness about a collaboration we are part of, Torchlight is part of, and that collaboration is called the Recovery Education Collaborative. So I traveled the state and try to identify barriers for our people, and whatever I heard, I pretty much brought back to the leadership team, and we try to do our best to formulate this collaboration based off of that information. So in that, I realized and came into that understanding that there are no Black-owned and operated recovery centers in the whole state. So Torchlight is a recovery center, and it also is a recovery cafe.
Okay.
So the cafe component of it is we're the second recovery cafe in the state, and that the qualifications for that, you don't need insurance, you don't need to pay to come to the recovery cafe. It's membership based, and all you need to do is come. You have your bearings when you enter the space, give back to the center, and attend one weekly circle. So the gist of it, like in a nutshell, is to have a safe space, a positive space where people could come, not just to watch TV, but to come to better themselves, to come to be around positive people who may be able to assist them with resources, with a good word, whatever it may be. So the cafe component of it, there's a bistro that will put Starbucks to shame. You can come in, you can get a cappuccino, a frap, or some coffee, some tea. You come in and...
Is it like a walk-in? Like you can just like walk in?
Come on in, and for the first 3 times you come, you don't have to sign up. You don't have to be a member. You could come in and feel the vibe of the space. And then after that 3rd time, if you would like to be a member, then you would go through the sign-up process. And those are the qualifications, the ones I share with you. But it's in Grove Hall. And when we had a soft opening, several community members that live in Boston, specifically the Grove Hall area, were so impacted by the fact that it was going to be there in Grove Hall, a community center, a resource center. Mosque number 11 is right next door and has been doing the work for over 90 years. But this here is a non-denominational recovery center.
Wow.
Also a resource center for those that are coming home from reentry. Brothers who are coming home from reentry, they go through this reentry course before they come home. They get a list of organizations and a list of numbers that they could contact when they go back into society, only to come to find out that a majority of those organizations do not exist no more. A lot of those numbers are disconnected, which could instantly be a trigger
Right,
for
right,
the brothers
right.
to, you know what I mean, to go back to doing what they were doing and not seek the help that they came home willing to, or follow through with the plan that they may have spent years and years to develop. That trigger right there could lead them back into incarceration. So
Right.
Torchlight is we're in the jails.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, March number 11, brother Mark is
Mm-hmm.
in upstate, and brother Minister Randy Muhammad and brother Larry Muhammad, who I'd be remiss if I didn't thank.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, because I'm just gonna stop there for 1 second if you don't mind, because those two brothers have definitely, had faith in me. You know what I mean? They knew I could do it. They seen my potential, and they allowed me to grow in the space.
Right,
So
right, right.
I think Allah first, but I think these two brothers locally
Mm-hmm.
because of their vision, what Torchlight is.
Right,
20
right.
years ago, they had a conversation about what they would like to do, what they would like to see in regards to a center, and here we are 20 years later, and it's there.
Right.
It's being attended by all our community members who are very grateful and utilizing the space, and different organizations all trying to collab with Torchlight.
Right, right.
So that's a little bit. I could go longer,
Right,
but
right.
also
But it's beautiful space too. It's really nice. And you know what? I didn't even find out about it until I saw Minister Randy post the pictures. I'm like, where? I go on Blue Up every day, and I didn't even notice all that was going on. But I'm so proud of you all for doing that, because it's needed, especially right here in the middle of our community, which is Grove Hall. And I believe in the work that the nation is doing, trying to empower our people and trying to keep brothers out of prison and giving them a space, a safe space, because a lot of spaces we go in aren't safe,
Right.
like this radio station is a safe space,
That's right.
and so I'm glad to be in partnership.
That's right.
Let's just say in partnership, but I'm excited. And so the work that's going on down in Nubian Square, the Nubian Square Task Force.
Right.
So this Wednesday is there's the recovery.
It's a recovery day of celebration.
Right. And
Yes.
so it's at the Boston Public
It's gonna be
Library
at the library in Nubian Square.
from 12 to 4.
Yes, 12 to 1 to 5.
1 to
No,
5.
excuse me,
No, 12 to 4.
12 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. And then while I'm talking about that, I also want to put a plug in for our hour of prayer that's on the same day from 6 to 7. And it'll be here at Global Ministries. Because we started the prayer circle at City Hall, and they said we couldn't do it anymore because it would be a lawsuit. So we decided to take our prayer on the road. So every month we'll go to a different facility, a different ministry, church, mosque, and have prayer.
Beautiful.
And so I think we'll narrowed it down to like the fourth Wednesday of each month from 6 to 7. So
We'll be here. I know it's on the minister. We get the flyer to the minister, and we'll make sure to be present. And there's power in prayer.
right.
what I mean?
A prayer changes things. I got a
Sure does.
T-shirt I'm gonna be selling about prayer.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well, you just let me know when it's out, and I'll get one from you.
It's and yeah, really, it's prayer, and it's an acronym. Prayer is powerful resources available, yielding extraordinary results, and I believe that.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, there's nothing like the power of prayer. When I worked in City Hall running the payroll for 5 years straight, we prayed every Tuesday from 1 to 2, and I think we shook some things down, because 2008 we got our first black elected city councilwoman, which was Ayanna Presley. Then 2 years later we got Michelle Wu as a city councilor. So things were, we were praying, and didn't know what the future was going to bring, but we just stepped out on faith and we prayed. And so when I saw the way the city council was changing and some of the things that they were doing that just didn't make any sense, I approached our city council at large, Julia Mejia, and asked her, could we start this prayer group back up? And she was more than willing, and we started. The first one was February 14th. And the theme was God is Love, and 6 of the 13 city councilors showed up, and so that was a blessing. Erin Murphy even mentioned, she's like, we should do this every week, but the city council opens up with prayer every Wednesday.
Mm.
You know, when before they start their the hearing, they open up in prayer. So when we found, so then the second one was March, and that was like Women's Month. And then we skipped April, and then we went May 1st, and then I don't know what happened, but they just was like, oh, well, you can't do it no more because there could be a lawsuit, and it was just all right. So we'll make a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
That's right.
So,
But
I said I told Rootsy the other day, I said we will be coming back to City Hall, okay?
Right.
But you know, it's just, I mean, people pray in different languages in different ways, you know, and it's this is not just for Christians. This is for everybody that believes in
That's right.
God, you know.
That's right.
And so I'm happy to be a part of it, and so I'm just excited in what God is doing in this city, in the state, and for our people. But on the as well as good is bad. Now, Mass and Cass, you know, Nubian Square. When you see these things, you see all this housing and stuff go up. I wondered why they shut down that roundhouse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
Right.
just like they had. I don't know if they didn't have enough people, but that could have been a place, a bed. They could have residential housing. You know, where you have people who are trained to work with people that have a drug abuse or mental health issues, because a lot of it is mixed. It's
Right.
both, you know.
That's right.
So tell me, as you travel, because I see you in Nubian Square, I see you talking to a lot of people. I don't see you like fearing. No, you just go up to people, you just talk to them. And so, what drives you besides God?
He's the ultimate driver, right? But I'd like to just, if I may, so your question is what drives me, but if I could just touch on, you know, going down to Nubian Square 4 years ago, specifically, and that day, and go from there.
Okay.
But you know, it was about 4 years ago when we were giving out dinner plates to the community in Nubian Square. We were near the small parking lot, which is directly across from the bookstore. The only
Okay.
black-owned bookstore that we got to give a plug for them.
Right. Frugal Books.
Frugal Bookstore.
Yeah, then you go in there, you can get my book. I look back and wonder how I got over.
There you go. But we were standing across the street, and on the opposite side of the street, there was about, almost 100 yards of chaos. You know, there was people shooting up, there was people fighting, there was people on the ground passed out, there was people selling drugs. It had a major impact personally on me because I looked across the street and I saw our people. Because we're taught when we see our people, we look at them, we're looking at a God. You know, it says in the Bible, ye are God's children of the Most High God, right? So that's how the Honorable Elijah Muhammad looked at us, and that's how we look at our people. So looking at our people in that condition, in such a condensed area, had a major effect on me. So that was the first time, that's when we started working in Nubian Square. We were brought down to Nubian Square because businesses were shutting down at 2 o'clock because they feared staying open later. People, people were being harassed at their businesses. People were defecating in front of their businesses. The bus station, the children were being propositioned. The elderly were being assaulted. People were just smoking crack and doing different things, even though the transit police are right there. And so that's why we got brought down there. And I think people were under the impression we were going to go down there and just muscle people out of there and tell them to move on. But that's not how we operate. That's not how we work. So we had established relationships with some of the individuals in the square, and we built more relationships. And within about a month or two, there was a change in that scene, you know, compared to what it was. And then I'll just fast forward, you know, we ended up expanding out where we go in the Nubian Square area. And we started to, when I became the supervisor probably about 2 years ago, I was focused on getting resources, direct resources that I could bring back to the square, bring back to our people in the community. And off of that, we've been able to help several people get into detox, get housed. And my drive, to be honest with you, is God, is Allah, who is God. Same thing, just a different language, right? And off of that, when I say I'm duty bound, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for someone helping me. I wouldn't be here if I didn't come into a better understanding of who I am, who our open enemy is, in who our God is, right? So therefore, that is my drive. And I know if I don't continue on this mission, if I don't do this work, then I will be chastised personally because I'm not supposed to be here. You was talking about people incarcerated. I'm one of those. You know, I spent 5 years in prison, and it wasn't coming home to what I'm gonna do, the plan that I had in place of doing the opposite of what I was doing when I went in. That plan right there, man, it consisted of working. It consisted of helping, and it consisted of not talking about it but being about it.
Right.
So that's my drive, you know. And I see the brothers coming home. I see brothers going back to prison, just being home for a short period. I see brothers dying. I see people overdosing, and so I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to save the world. We're not sitting here saying we're going to save the world, but we're going to try to save as many of our people as we can for the time that we have here on this earth. So that's my drive. Going into Nubia Square, you know, that was kind of the breakdown of Torchlight engagement team. We have an engagement team that is at Nubian Square from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we are, like I said, connecting our people to resources, trying to collaborate with different organizations. And there may be some organizations that may fear coming to the square. There may be organizations that have resources that are earmarked for the square but are not coming to the square with those resources. So we are not only a voice for our people within those realms where they necessarily wouldn't be, but we're also there to bring resources to our people as well. To be there, just to be an ear. Right. You know what I mean? To be a positive example. You know, so hopefully that answered your question. But on top of that, I mean, it's growing, you know. Right now, Nubian Square, we talked about Mass and Cass. You know, they currently put up, you know, I know you've seen the gates they put up in the Mass and Cass area. And Nubian Square has caught an overflow from Mass and Cass. Not people from the city, not people from our community, but people from different cities, different states. Yeah. You know, so.
Go to Nubian Square.
Yeah.
Go to Boston, you know.
But what I will share, I'll share this about, we mentioned the Nubian Square Task Force, so there may be those that are on that don't know what that is. So. At current state, Katrina Cooley is currently leading the task force. Yes. But it literally is a meeting that happens every other Wednesday where all the organizations within the city come together and share what they have for resources. If people aren't sure, if they have questions about certain things, then they come to the meeting to get that answered as well. It's also for the community too. So it's not just for organizations to come in and talk about the community. Community members are encouraged to come to those meetings every other Wednesday. And
I see that they bring a lot of resources. Some of the people that like Demick Street, you know, they have a lot of different resources that people probably don't even know about, you know.
Right, and that's some of that is intentional. Why our people don't know about the resources. Think about the billions, not millions, but probably billions of dollars that are earmarked for our people that are dealing with substance use disorder, mental health, and, you know, where that money may be going, right? That's a whole nother conversation.
Right. That's another show.
Yeah, that's another show. But
where is the money?
That's another show. But our focus, like for real, our focus at Torchlight, our focus in the nation is our people. You know, so that's our focus. I mean, whatever we could do to assist, whether it be on the ground, whether it be at a table with a bunch of people, whether it be who knows where, we'll go there. There's nowhere that we won't go, right?
Right.
And I'll share this with you because I'll share one situation where there was a brother and he was upset with us because we didn't have guns. He's like, yeah, he came at us. He was yelling at us. You down here? You don't got no. You didn't get an AK, man. And you know what? We walk by faith. You know what I mean? We know that the God got our back. He showed us over and over on a consistent basis that he got our back, because if it wasn't for him, we would not be here, right?
That's right. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I really like and respect about the Nation of Islam, that you all don't wear guns. You know, you don't need guns. It's just your presence and the way you all are towards the community, you know. So, I just, I see a change, a shift. But we still need help. We still have a long way to go, you know. And it's sad when you see the people out there in the community and you try to, you know, talk to them. I remember, you know, I've seen people like literally shooting drugs. You know, I went to park my car one day and there was someone just sitting there. And it's sad because you want to help them, but, you know, it's like, what do you say? You know, how can you help them? You know, I guess you got to go to a recovery coach class, right, or something like that.
No, no, you do. I mean, have you been in a recovery coach class?
No.
And you approach the people on the street, and what do you start with? Just like us. Peace, brother. Peace, sister. How you doing, king? How you doing, queen? Like, with the engagement team, part of our instruction is to not pass anybody. Don't pass anybody shooting up. Don't pass anybody when they seem like they might have mental health issues and just pass by them. You know what I mean? We stop at everybody and at least give them the greetings because that opens the door.
Right.
Our people are so used to not getting the greeting but getting that hard look.
Right.
You know what I mean? Getting passed by and looked at as if they're nothing.
Right.
You know, so by doing that you open. So I'll share this. This is a quick class for those that are asking that question that you just asked. You know, if you're wondering what should you do, what should you say, just go up and give the greetings, and however you know how to do that. Give the greetings and see where it takes you, you know? And yes, there is an element of danger associated with approaching somebody and maybe not being, having the understanding of how to really engage. But at the same time, you don't know what you could do for somebody just by saying peace, right? Just by saying peace. Just telling them, how are you doing today? And meaning.
Right.
Because we use that a lot. How you doing?
Fine.
And you say, how you doing? And then you over here in the conversation. You know what I mean? You're not even looking for an answer. So when you say it, just be intentional. And anybody that wants to learn, how to engage with the community and you want to be about that work, come down to Nubian Square and walk with us. You know what I mean? Anybody could walk with us. Come walk with us.
Yeah.
Engage the people that are there, And there are trainings, though. There are trainings that could be taken for engagement. You're making me think of creating a training for engagement, which that's all the way too. But you spoke on trainings, and if I may, I'd like to touch on that collaborative I spoke of earlier that deals with recovery coaching, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
The Recovery Education Collaborative was formed. The Recovery Education Collaborative consists of Torchlight, More, Bay State Services, and C4 Innovations. So for the just in January, we officially launched to the public trainings for recovery coaching. Or if you're trying to get your LADAC or your KDAC, you could get the CEUs necessary from the trainings that are provided by the REC.
Okay, so you using all them acronyms.
Okay.
So you got
So someone who's trying to be a clinician,
Uh-huh.
and there's certain CEUs they would need, like credits they would need. And someone who wants to be a recovery coach, there's a certain amount of hours and a certain list of trainings that you have to ascertain to get in order to become a certified recovery coach in the state of Massachusetts. So the REC provides those trainings at massrec.org. I think that's the website. I got to back up. I'll get the website. But I'm also a facilitator of those trainings, and Torchlight is our component of that collaborative is to make sure that our people have the information. That the barriers that maybe have established or have been in place are broken down. So we have a BIPOC workforce development. BIPOC stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. Torchlight is as that branch of it. We're there for the BIPOC workforce development and also to consult as well when it comes to our people. So we literally have a voice at the table, and there's been tremendous work that's been done. A lot of our people have been able to get connected to it. Start with Recovery Coach Academy, which is the first training, and continue on. When I go and present this, I tell people that there is you don't have to just be a recovery coach and that's it. You could be a recovery coach and then a recovery coach supervisor. You could be a facilitator of the trainings. You could go on to write your own training. So there is a career path within the recovery coaching. And so in the state, and I would say even in the nation right now, all organizations are looking for Black recovery coaches, people from the BIPOC community, because as recovery coaches, one of the biggest qualifications is lived experience.
Right.
So
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's why, because they've been through it. So, if you haven't been through nothing, then you don't know nothing. And
Right.
so if you've lived that life, and then you turn it over, then you want to give back. You do.
Yeah, and so when someone is looking for a recovery coach, they want to see a recovery coach that looks like them,
Right.
that can understand what they're going through, that can look them in the eye and they know that what they're saying is true, or that they know what they're talking about.
Right.
And I forgot to say that with the engagement.
Right.
When you're out there, fear could be smelt. People you're engaging can smell if you're scared, you know. So look at them in their eye, and so they can see that, you know, it's
You're
coming
not
from your
scared.
heart.
You're right,
You
right,
know what I
right.
mean? That's another part too, because people who do engagement don't realize the people they're talking to are looking them right in their eyes.
Right.
Because we used to be fed lies. We used to
Right.
be given promises that, you know, never come true, right? So we already have an established thought in regards to people approaching us. So look them in the eye, you know. And so that's Recovery Education Collaborative, and it's definitely a resource for our community. And I'm going to make sure to say it loud and proud, because we're at the table, and we know because myself and the minister are on the leadership team of that organization, of that collaboration, so we know what is actually happening, you know. So it is for our people. I would stand by that, you know.
Right. That's wonderful. That's great. So, tell us about the 40th anniversary.
Oh yes, this is a major event that's happening this Saturday. It's the 40th anniversary / homecoming event. It's the 40th year that Mosque number 11 has been in Grove Hall.
Wow.
Yeah, so all those believers and community members that have anything to do with the mosque over the last 40 years are coming from all over the country, and they're gonna converge onto the Bruce Bowling Building.
Wow.
On Saturday afternoon. Doors open at 12:30. Tickets are $100. It's gonna be you know, dress your best, have a nice catered meal, you know, and it's gonna be filled with just, you know, for me, I see it as a historical event, because there's history that I don't know. I'm in the nation, and I do a lot of studying, and I've learned a lot. But to have all those that have done it over the last 40 years in one room, I mean, that's gonna be
amazing.
that's gonna be an amazing event. It's actually a building. It's having to do with a building fundraiser as well. So Saturday is that event, and on Sunday, the mosque will be opening up, and I'll share a little tidbit to whoever's listening, because nobody else knows. The whole interior of the mosque has been redone.
Wow.
So I don't know that it has been done in that manner in a long time. So it's going to be fresh. It's going to be brand new, and it's going to be an amazing event to attend. So the doors open at 10:30, and Brother Minister Randy will be giving the lecture at 11 o'clock. So,
All right.
yeah. So I know you got your ticket. Anybody who wants tickets, if you know, just you could reach out to me personally. You know.
Give them your information.
Yeah, you can reach me at Jeff X Lewis on Facebook and Instagram. Jeff X Lewis, one word. Or you can reach out at 857-417-8766. Also, you can go to Muhammad Mosque NO 11, and you can purchase.
Oh,
your
you know
tickets
what?
online.
You just we weren't supposed to.
He didn't say. He did once, but not to say.
Okay, don't mention prices. I forgot to tell you.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So for more information, reach out to any one of those contacts. Thank you.
So this is People Power with Priscilla. We are the people. We have the power. We are here with a powerful black man who's in the community, doing work for the community, helping the community. Give us a call. You got some questions, comments? 617-282-0685, 617-282-7794, 617-265-2679. All right, so let's see. I ran out of things. No, I didn't. So on the 25th also, we have been trying to get Ranked Choice Boston. They're trying to, they're having a movie that's hosted by Madison Park Development Corporation, and that's September 25th at 6 p.m. And it's called Majority Rules. That's the name of the movie. So it's gonna be at Madison Park. So Ranked Choice Boston, Rocks Vote, Voter Choice Mass, and Hibernian Hall will be doing this. So 184 Dudley Street. And do we have any so call us.
I'm on the radio right now. Okay.
So Brother Jeffrey,
Yes.
what is it? Bow Tie Connection? Is that the name
Oh,
of your?
man, can I get into my business for a second?
Yeah.
Without giving prices?
Yes, please.
But yeah, nah, you know, something that impacted me majorly was coming out a message to the black man written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and it's the economic blueprint. And in there, and in the teachings, it talks about doing for self. You know, uniting and pooling our cash together. Like that's something that we should be doing because there's power in unity, right?
Right.
So, I strive to not punch into anybody's clock.
Okay.
Right? That's
right.
something that I got to a point where I was focused and it was in my brain. Don't punch in nobody's clock. Establish your own businesses. Work with your community. And you know, you got brothers that you know got businesses. Do your thing with your community and your people. And so that was my mindset. But I ended up going back to a factory because I could put machines together and run machines and set them up and all that. So with that mindset, I still went back to an organization, right, to a factory, and I used to work there for a year and a half. But when I went in there, for the first 3 days that I went there, my throat started burning, my nose started burning. I had an adverse effect to some chemical that was in there. But mind you, I was there for a year and a half prior, but not with the mindset I just shared with you, right?
Right.
So after that third day, I was like, enough is enough. I almost felt like it was God telling me, like, go ahead, what, you want to kill yourself? You're going to keep punching in to the point where you kill yourself? Go do what you need to do for yourself and figure it out, Brother Jeff. And so from that point forward, for the last 3.5 years, I haven't punched in to anybody's clock. And I have certain businesses that are helping me provide for my family, helping me provide for other people's families. One of the businesses that I have is called the Bow Tie Connection. My father, Brother Jeffrey 2X, may Allah be pleased with him, he married a sister in Africa. And prior to him passing, he went to Africa and showed her how to make bow ties. And so she would ship bow ties, and she would sell, sustain herself with, obviously through him, but also with the funds from the bow ties. And my dad would sell bow ties as well. He also sold a bunch of other things, and I've been watching him. He's a businessman. I watched him start with the Black Bart Simpson T-shirts back in the 90s. That's where he started, but he ended up establishing an enterprise for himself. And so when he passed, he had about $20,000 worth of shoes, clothes, oils, and stuff like that. And he had a black box with bow ties in it. So when I saw that box, I saw $1 million business, at least. And $20,000 worth of stuff, $1 million business. So I established a website. I started traveling the country, going to different locations and selling bow ties. And at this point, I have a bow tie from the Bow Tie Connection in pretty much every state, and including Canada as well. And it's growing. And now this business is something that helps take care of me and my family, and Sister Elizabeth in Africa and her son who's currently in college. So that's the business. They're handmade bow ties. They're they got the clip with the grip that won't slip. See, I got one on. You don't see it slipping. You know what I mean? But it's something that one of the several businesses that allow me not to be in a room for 8 to 10 hours and not able to be in the community. So I have businesses from the teachings, from the economic blueprint. I have two brothers that are backing me, some powerful brothers, Brother Randy and Brother Larry, you know what I mean? That is allowing me to continue to be in the community on a daily basis, do this work. You know what I mean? So I'm so blessed. I mean, I didn't really get into my story, but prior to being incarcerated, I was shot, jumped, stabbed. I went through those things. I was an alcoholic. I was I was addicted to drugs. I was waking up on the floor pretty much to the birds, like waking me up and me wondering where I am. So I was lost and I was dead, except from that physical death. Morally, spiritually, I was dead. And so here I sit in front of you today, Sister Priscilla, alive, awake,
and blessed,
and telling everybody about it.
Yes.
Going and just trying to give whatever I can in regards to light to wherever that darkness is. So there's other businesses, but I think this right here, this conversation is the key conversation to anybody that's listening, anybody that's struggling with addiction, anybody that's struggling with mental health, anybody that's struggling with depression, anybody that may have lost a family member and doesn't know, God is saying, God, why me? everything happens for a reason, and the difficulty factor is attached to anything that's worth anything. You know, so we have to continue to strive on a daily basis. We got to keep God out front, and we have to just do the best that we can. Try to do right every day.
Right.
You know.
That's about all we can do is try, and but God is good, and he's great, and he's greatly to be praised, and I'm thankful and grateful for him being in my life and helping me to do the things that I do on a daily basis. And it's not easy. It's not easy when you're born and raised in a city that is just so racist and just wants to take you out, don't want you here, I feel like the America, our home where we were born at, that really don't want us here. They stole us from our native land and just brought us here and thought we were going to be slaves forever.
That's right.
They wanted us to be slaves forever.
That's right.
But there's a scripture in the Bible, and I believe it's in Deuteronomy, that says you're only supposed to keep your slaves for 7 years. And then after the 7 years, you let them go with their families, with their cattle, whatever they have accumulated, But for some reason, for whatever reason, it just seems like they don't want to let go of us. They want to give us minimum wages, and I'm with you with that clock. I mean, when I retired from the city in 2010, I was like, I'm not gonna punch a clock no more. But I work. I do a lot of work in the community. I've helped a lot of organizations. I sat down one day and counted all the organizations I had helped start, in the city, and a dozen. So it's just like, but it's that's where my heart is. My heart is with my people, because I've seen the suffering, and life is not fair. It's not fair. But as long as we believe and trust in God, we'll make it. It's not easy, but God, he knows the plans.
That's right.
He has
He's
for
the
us.
ultimate plan maker.
Right.
So what are we doing but walking into the plan?
Right.
And you talked about our people being enslaved into this country. You talked about Western civilization and the establishment. So at the end of the day, when different things came up, like the U.S. Constitution, right, 13th Amendment, whatever it is, right, what were we looked at that time? We weren't looked at as human beings.
No, 3/5 of a
3/5
person.
of a human being.
And I think that's why the Constitution, it does need to be revamped. It does need to be a change, because we're human beings. We built this country. Our people built this. Our ancestors literally built this country.
You say, I don't know. I'm not sure why they don't want to let us go. What would happen if they did? You know what I mean? But it's not up to them.
Right. It's up to us.
We're talking about, it is up to us and us uniting, but ultimately God has the ultimate say, right? Mm-hmm. And we are God's people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how can you just say that? How can you say that, Brother Jeffrey? Just look at us. Look at our resilience. Look at how much power we have when we do unite. Mm-hmm. How much there's so much power in us united. You know what I mean? That ultimately, if that were to occur, that's the ultimate. I believe that right there is what they do not want to happen. To us to unite as a people.
Right.
Let these gangs come together. Mm-hmm. Let all organizations put whatever their differences are to the
Yep.
side and come
Yep.
together.
Yep.
What will happen? It will be a change overnight.
Exactly.
So I could go on that one, but I'll stop there too.
No, but that's true. That is so true, because I always say that, like, when I got into this nonprofit world after I retired from the city, and we started the organization BG. I always said that, you have all these organizations competing against each other. You got 4 or 5 organizations working on jobs. You got 4 or 5 different organizations working on schools. You got 4 or 5 different organizations working on education, whatever. But if you have 4 or 5 organizations, why can't the 4 or 5 organizations collaborate? Then you can go after funding outside of Massachusetts, because people go to the same lenders, the same funders every time, and there's not that many. But nationwide, if you come up with a collaboration of people that really are about this work and could collaborate and work together and get the funding, because I remember during COVID, they didn't want to give us anything. We had to fight for what we got. And that's how it was. I feel like it's always been. It's always a struggle. It's always a fight that we have to continue to fight. But like you said, we're resilient. We are fighters. We don't have to always fight. I mean, I used to be a tomboy. I used to fight all the time, but I don't have to fight with my fists no more. I just fight with my mouth.
Right. So there's that external fight. There's an external fight, right? And then there's the internal fight.
Right.
We know that on a daily basis. When I talk about striving to do right every day, we have that other side, that might try to come up in our left ear. You know what I mean? It might not be the right thing, but what do we have? We have a self-accusing spirit, man. That if we could turn the volume up on that self-accusing spirit, then we will be able to do the right thing more than we would do the wrong, right?
What did you call it? A what?
A self-accusing spirit within us. That voice that's within us, that force that's within us, that talks to us on a daily basis, that says, this is where you need to go, and it's the right way. But also within that, we have something in our left ear, right? That comes from our lower desires, and that would tell us, no, you don't got to do that. Why don't you do this? That's only a mere suggestion. It's us that actually move out on it. But if we turn up the volume on our self-accusing spirit, then we'll be doing things in accordance with what we should be doing more. So I could say that, like when I talked to you about in the past, that volume was turned off. It's on mute. You know what I mean? I knew how to. I was real good at doing bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just striving to come into understanding of what our purpose is. Honorable Mr. Farrakhan, he tells us, come in. You should be striving to come, not verbatim, but he says you should be striving to come into understanding of what your purpose in life is. But once you find out what your purpose is, you sure you got it, but now you got to move out on it.
Right.
I chopped up the words, but that was the gist of it, and that's something that, definitely stuck with me. What is it? What is it? And then just by doing the work, you come into that understanding. We focus on so many different things because there's so many distractions. The world is moving at a very fast pace. The society is moving at a fast pace. But if we focus, first keep God out front, keep Allah out front, and then just do the work, that rest will take care of itself. We will be blessed. But we have to be patient with God's promise. Yeah. We're not going to get it when we want it.
Right.
Like, you promised, luxury, good home, friendships, and all walks of life. I want it now. No, it ain't when he's going to test you.
Right.
He's gonna test you, maybe put you in a situation that looks like it's you can't get out of it to see what you do. Right. And in those times, all of our tests will be different because all things are different. Something's difficult for you, maybe easier for me. Something's difficult for me, maybe easier for you. But at the end of the day, God will test us with those tests to see what we're going to do with it. And if we are able to pass that test, then we'll get one of those blessings that we're seeking. But it's a continuous work, like you said. It's a continuous work, and the piece about unity is so important that we should bring it back up. Because we have strong brothers within the community. We have strong sisters within the community. And we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
We know what will work.
Yeah, right.
We know what it will take to get there. So we have to come together. And there are brothers and sisters that are wrongfully convicted brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Like shout out brother Mac, shout out brother Sean Kareem, shout out brother Richard Six. Shout out to these brothers, man, because they was planning while they was down these years when they was wrongfully convicted or did 30 years or 20 years. And now here they are in society today. They busted up the DOC now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're going against
and that's good.
government.
And that's a blessing. I used to say a long time ago, there was a lot of smart brothers incarcerated, because it just seems like it's just kind of like they just took them and they left them and they left us. But God always has a ram in the bush, And so I'm blessed. I'm just happy. I'm happy to be alive in my right mind, because I wasn't. There was a time when I wasn't in my right mind either. I wrote my book about my life, and that was just up to like 55 years. So it's just like now I have about 2 more books in me. But it's life is, you never know what path you're gonna come across. You never know who you're gonna meet. You never know who you're gonna partner with. You never know what life holds for you. But if you trust and believe, things will work out. And there are going to be some bad days. There are going to be some days that we cry, and unfortunately that it's life,
Right.
And we're not here forever,
Right.
We're not going to be here forever. So I just want to do right. So when it's my time, God will say, well done, because I sure don't want him to say, depart from me, I know you not. But it's life. It's life.
It's said all the time at the boss, man. We just try to balance the scale, man.
Yeah.
For all the maybe wrong or negative, we're trying to get it back up to at least even,
Yeah.
And you're right about the blessing of the day. Like me and you sitting here right now today, there are no probabilities to that.
Right.
There are no probabilities to me being alive, to you being alive, to you being in a position you're on a radio show, you know, you have an audience, we're able to hit the airwaves together. Did I ever think I'd be talking to people on the radio or Facebook Live or no. There's no odds to it, so it tells us we looking for tangible evidence. Just look at your life, man. There's no probabilities to the things that occurred. That's blessings from God. That's blessings from Allah, man.
Amen.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you wake up and you open your eyes, that's a blessing.
That's right.
You
That's
being able
right.
to be able to hear my baby cry early in the morning at 4, I can hear.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
people that cannot.
That's right.
You know, so
That's
we allow the distraction.
Mm-hmm.
We allow those things that we face, which are real in
Mm-hmm.
life. We allow those things to have us thinking about all those things instead of focusing on the really important things, like being able to digest food, being able to walk, being able to give, we talked about going and greeting people, being able to be in front of them and in a position where you're not looking at them other than what they should be looked at.
Right.
There's so many blessings. We can say all day, just let's name the blessing. You will be rapid fire, But we have to just look for those things that there's no probabilities to. And that right there is is tangible evidence that Allah is real, that the God is real.
Yeah. Yeah. He's real.
God
He's
is real.
I have my intern over there. He's working 2 phones.
Okay. All right.
Hey Wes, how you doing?
Doing good. How we doing?
What you got me on Instagram and Facebook?
Got you on everything.
You got any questions in the chat?
Yeah.
Tell me, like, how hard was it just to like come up in the community, just like from coming down from like a hard path to just able to like being the man you are today? Like, what really made you make that change?
Well, for me, it was sitting in a little cell with a little square mirror that was bolted on the wall, and I had to look at myself. All those distractions that I was talking about, all those different things that I said I was dealing with, all that was gone, and I was just sitting there in silence. So I was looking in there, I was like, how did I get here? And there's that moment that I made the decision that I'm going to do everything in my power to never come back to this place again. To never be in a situation where someone's telling me turn off my light. Where someone's not going to give me toilet paper and think it's funny. Where I have to hear people screaming and crying and fighting on a daily basis behind the wall. So that was the beginning of my journey. And then, I did an extensive study in regards to the Nation of Islam, what Muslims believe, what they want, the history of the nation, because I've been around the Nation of Islam my whole life. My father, Brother Jeffrey 2X, my uncle Christopher Muhammad, they've been in the nation since I was young. But I was around the mosque, but I never fell in. And so I wasn't going to just fall into something. I need to know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, he's like, do the knowledge, man. He says, take nothing on face value, and the truth will reveal itself. And so that's what I did. And after that extensive study, I came home, and that's the first thing I did. I knocked on the mosque door, and I registered as a believer in the Nation of Islam, and started working that day, and the rest is history. And here we are today. And I got to shout out Brother West, man, because we was at a community meeting, and I introduced myself. I was like, my name is Brother Jeffrey 4X. And then it was Wes's turn. He's like, my name is Brother West, man. You know what I mean? I got to shout you out for that, man, because that's real. What is the best title?
Right.
Like I could say I'm on the leadership team here. I'm the president of this. I'm the owner of this, right? But the best title is brother. How do you know that you've come from death to life? Is when you love the brotherhood or the sisterhood. So
Okay, we got a caller.
Okay.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Peace, this is Brother Jamal calling. How you doing?
Hey, Jamal. How you doing?
All right. I just wanted to say, on this radio station, on your show and others, every now and again, because we have a bunch of, discussions and debates and all this type of thing, but sometimes y'all get somebody who's just what I call like a community gem, and so ever since I've known this brother, this just been a solid brother, a stand-up guy. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to shout out and congratulate him and all the things that he's been doing personally with his own business, all of the stuff going on with the mosque. I know the anniversary is this weekend, what they've been doing with Torchlight recovery and all that. And, I just see you, and there's several other brothers as well who just keep a clean spirit, are always, smiling, but not in a corny way, being firm and, standing on their square. So I salute you, brother, and I'm glad to see the growth and development. I'm glad to hear you on these radio waves.
Man, thank you, brother. I appreciate you so much, man.
Thanks for
appreciate you
calling
much.
in, Jamal.
Jamal, thank you very
Absolutely.
much,
Peace.
man. And I appreciate you too, bro, man, because you're not gonna hold back, man. You're gonna speak the truth regardless of whom or what. Speak the truth regardless of the circumstances. You know what I mean? And you're not just about the talk neither. You got whether it be a turkey giveaway, a food giveaway, a cleanup, or putting somebody on blast because they need to be put on blast. You'll do that. So I appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate your kind words. And I thank nobody but Allah, man. I thank Allah for all that I am today and all that we have, man. Thank you, brother.
We have 1 minute, and so I'm gonna give that last minute to you, brother Jeff.
I had a lot of minutes on this show, but
That's why I bring people in, because I want our community to know the people that are doing the work. So
Right.
when they see you, they'll know who you are, and we can collaborate, And so, last minute.
I'm gonna go back to something I said earlier. No matter what you're facing today, no matter how hard it is, no matter what anybody says, don't ever give up. Know that you have value within yourself. You are valuable. You are worth it. And us as a people, man, we need to put all the little things aside and whatever the disagreements are and come together and not allow anybody to run over us because of our disunity.